As I was studying Bitya or Batya, the daughter of Pharaoh, who came across baby Moses in the basket caught in the reeds of the Nile, uh, I came across an interesting source that shows one of the names of Moses. Now, I just recently came across the fact that Moses had 7 names, and I know that Jethro also had 7 names. But I've never actually looked up the names of Moses. I've only looked up the names of Jethro. But I came across this. I kind of stumbled across it, and it says that his parents gave him this name, Yakotiel or Yakotiel. For she said, I have hoped to the Lord, and he hath restored him unto me. And then this one. The parents of Moses saw the child, for his form was like that of an angel of God. They circumcised him on the 8th day, and they called him Yakotiel. What's interesting about this to me is that it pops up, this name here pops up one time in the entire Tanakh, and it's in a chapter I'm quite familiar with and very interested in, because it has the lineage of the Kenites or Kenaz in it, and I'm very familiar with it, but I'd never thought anything of this name. So this is the only time it shows up in 1 Chronicles 4, verse 18, which 1 Chronicles 2 and 4 are definitely cainite and kenizite territory. And we'll have a look at it here. What's also interesting about this is, here's verse 17, the sons of Ezra, Yetro, which is one of the names of Jethro, Mered, Epher, Yalan. She conceived and bore Miriam, Shammai, Ishba. But here we have Yetro. So one of the names of Jethro. And then if you go to the next verse, you'll find another name of Jethro in Heber. Heber. And then here it says the father of Soko. And Heber happens to show up right next to Yakotiel. So interesting. Both Moses and Jethro have 7 names. 2 of them show up. 2 of Jethro's show up in 1 Chronicles 4, a cainite Kenites chapter, and so does Yakotiel, one of the names of Moses. And these were the sons of Bitya, daughter of Pharaoh, whom married, and married here is Caleb. Caleb, whose father was a Kenizite. And we know, again, this is the one who saved, this is Pharaoh's daughter, who saved Moses. And here is one of his names that show up. Next to Heber, one of Jethro's names, and Yetro. And here we see Jethro called by 7 names. There's Yetro, Jethro, and Heber. Caini, because he's a cainite. And Putiel, yeah, more on that. We have some videos on that. Ruel, that shows up for the first time in Genesis 36. But Yetro and Heber. And Moses is also known by 7 names. And it's well known that the 42-lettered name of God incorporates 7 different names. Jethro also had 7 names. Here's some reading on this subject that I think you'll find interesting. Okay. This introduction made reference to the fact that the Book of Chronicles cannot always be interpreted literally, but requires exposition, as the same individual might be called by various different names, as in the following verse, and then it quotes our verse, where both names Heber and Yehotiel show up. And it is written, she repudiated idol worship, did Bitya. So she turned from idol worship to at least to one God. We know that. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself in the river. She went down to wash and purify herself from the idols of her father's house. So at the very least, she took on monotheism, and we can know for a fact she took on at least 7 laws, and maybe more. Gemara, now this is the juicy part. The Gemara understands that all the names referred to in the verse as children of Pharaoh's daughter refer to Moses, as it will soon explain. The Gemara asks, Pharaoh's daughter bore Moses, but didn't she merely raise him? Rather, it is telling you, with regard to anyone who raises an orphan boy or girl in his house, the verse ascribes him credit as if he gave birth to him. Interesting. The Gemara explains how all the names, in fact, are referring to Moses. And then it goes through all of the different names. So this is very interesting because it shows then that Moses and Jethro share names. They would both be known as Heber and Yitro. That's amazing. I had not known this until today. And when I came across it, I was practically jumping for joy. This is not something I thought I would come across. Let's put it that way. And then, so let's see what it says. He was called Heber because he connected the Jewish people to their Father in heaven. Interesting. And then it says he was called Soko because he was for the Jewish people like a shelter or a sukkah, which is interesting because in 1 Chronicles 2, the Kenite groups, one of them is called like a sukkatim, and it says it's because they dwelled in sukkahs. So that's another connection to cainites and Jethro. And then Yehotiel, because the Jewish people trusted in God. Very interesting stuff. And it says that Moses was a father to all of the Jewish people in 3 respects. A father in Torah, a father in wisdom, a father in prophecy. But with all this to consider, the names that they share, and the 7 names, that makes the fact that Yitro, which has the gematria or number value 616, and the fact that you find Moses in the Torah, in the 5 books, 616 times, kind of interesting. It adds another layer to this thing. And just to give you an idea of what you might find if you look up Yehotiel, which you'll find right here. Here's Moses. Kotiel. And then there's Heber. And Heber. But then, if you look closely, you'll see that Caini and Ha-Caini and Ha-Cainim, Ha-Caini, Ha-Cain are interspersed throughout here backwards, having to do with the wet nurse. Interesting stuff. If you're interested in any of this, feel free to get a hold of me. Thank you.